Hi everybody, it's Gail from Gail's Bookish Things, and this is my part 2 of the St. Louis Pen Show. Even though I'm not labeling it as such, that's kind of what it boils down to. When I went to the pen show this past weekend, I was in search for a patriotic pen. I was looking for something with red, white, and blue, and I looked for that, and I also had at the back of my mind possibly an abalone or abalone type pen, and that is what I actually ended up finding at the pen show. So the funny thing about this, it was the second day. First day, kind of looked around and got an idea of the lay of the land and who was selling what in very broad terms. But the second day, I realized I hadn't been to Letter Writer Social, the table that they had, and my friend Kathy from Scribe Samples had been there and said it was really neat and you could send postcards, and it was just a really cool setup. But they were also selling pens. Sarah does the letter writing social part, and her husband Ben does the pens, and there were maybe, I don't know, 12 pens that were on sale, and they were sort of a random mix of pens that they obtained. I guess they were used, or I don't know the whole story, but I saw this and I had been thinking about this style of pen. It's not like my typical purchase of a pen or style of a pen with the colors, but I had seen some of these, and I'm thinking maybe Kristen at Life Inspires Design was where I last saw something comparable to this pen. I'm like, I do kind of like that idea of the shell look. When I was a little girl, my family spent a lot of the summers in Florida where my one set of grandparents lived, and this reminds me of some of the things we would pick up on the beach. Anyway, I'm twirling it back and forth. There's just such a funny story to this. So as you can see, I have an Esterbrook nib in here. Some time ago, I ordered the Esterbrook Esty Botanical Garden, got it, inked it up, and I was not happy with the nib. I don't know what it was. I was just frustrated because I feel like if anybody's going to get a nib that doesn't work right away, it's me. So I took out the nib unit, ordered another one right away. I think I ordered from Van Ness, and I put it in the pen, and that was fine. And then I just stored this one away. Well, yesterday, or the second day at the show, it was Saturday, I came across this pen at Letter Writer Social. I asked Ben, how much are these certain pens for? And he said, well, I'm selling them for $40. I didn't even have to think twice. And when I took off the cap, the nib that was on it with a black, possibly Bach nib, fell off. So he goes, oh, I forgot that one was cracked. Let me fix you up with a new one. But what he had wasn't quite the right fit for the pen, so it was just gushing ink. I like a gushy pen, but this is the kind where it's dropping, like just pouring out. Obviously not a broad or a stub, but just too much ink. So anyway, I didn't figure that out till I got home. He had told me, test it out before you go and bring it back if you have any more problems. I didn't have time to do that. So when I got home on Sunday, I did test it, and it was continuing to leak. So that's when I made the switch for this, and I was so glad I held on to this nib unit, which of course I would, but I was frustrated that it had seemed so scratchy. When I put it in here, it was like, there's no problem. It's a broad nib, if I didn't mention, and I have this inked with Sailor Hara Hara, and it's a really fun combination because this color here looks pink here, but then when it's surrounded more by the gray, the color takes on more of a purple hue. I think they're different colors. To start with, more pink here, more of a pastel purple here, but The Hara Hara works really nicely in it, and it's kind of works well color-wise with this. The mystery of this pen is he didn't know and was not sure. He asked some of his pen friend experts what they thought this model was, and some have suggested that it was a Christopher 14 from, it was bought, the website that he showed me was London Pen Company, and it was a Brooks Green Abalone, or Abalone. Tell me how to pronounce that, please, correctly. So that was the best he could figure, because when he got these, they didn't know. So if you know what this pen is, please let me know. I would love to officially know. That was an educated guess, but if you have more information, I would be so grateful to know what this lovely pen is. I've just been calling it Brooks Green Abalone, but don't know that for sure, but I do think it's gorgeous. The other thing I decided to pick up was one of these Pilot parallel pens. You can use it as this. As you can see, I haven't opened it yet. I chose the 2.4 nib width, and you have cartridges and you can put them in there. You can also pull out the nib unit and insert it into an Opus 88 pen. I've seen it done to the demonstrator pens. So I guess the idea with that is maybe you can have a bigger ink reservoir ready at your hands, but I think I'll just test it in this first. I liked this because it was wider, but not one of the super, I don't know if I'm gonna open this. Not one, I guess I won't, not one of the super wide ones, because I envision using this with kind of my everyday journaling and just maybe making some highlight type remarks with it. Anyway, this will be something to explore later. Insert the cartridge there. Or you could always probably refill the cartridge. I think it had screws on, so that's kind of cool. Something new to play around with. I think having it inked up and handy, excuse me, will be just a fun way to use that, not make a special writing session with it as much as having it among my daily selection so it can be incorporated into regular journaling life. So the next pen I bought shortly after the pen show, but I'm gonna just add it to this and not make a separate video, is this Conklin All-American. And the style name couldn't be, or color name couldn't be more perfect. It's called Old Glory. So in looking for a patriotic themed pen this weekend, I found several that were red. I found some that were blue. I saw one that was really pretty at Analog Pens, and it was called Rocket Pop. So it looked like those old, I guess they're still around, I don't know, but the rocket popsicles that you would buy when the ice cream truck went around or at a fair or something. The colors looked just like that popsicle, and it was really pretty. But the price, not unreasonable, was just more than I wanted to spend. I've recently purchased a few pens, and I went to the pen show thinking, you know, if something really jumps out at me, I would do it, but I really didn't see a red, white, and blue one that really resonated with me. And I kept thinking, well, after the show, I'll go back to Amazon and see if they still have the Old Glory, and they did. Here's a tip. If you want to buy one of these pens off of Amazon, put it in your cart and keep going back and looking at it. Because what my experience is with my tortoiseshell one, I did that and it dropped down $10 overnight, and that's when I had bought my tortoiseshell Conklin. Well, I had purchased this without waiting, and when it was on its way, it was marked down, you know, like one of those daily deal kind of things, or limited time only. Another $10 or maybe $9 in this case. I just decided to keep this one because I really was eager to start writing with it with the 4th of July coming up. We'll have, it looks like, 3 sons, in the military. I have an Air Force son, an Army son, and my youngest son, Drew, is headed towards the Marines, and I just want to remember them on a daily basis, pray for them, and just keep them fresh in my mind, because that's a little bit of a hard thing for me, especially with my youngest leaving. So anyway, I wanted to commemorate that decision, that patriotism, and buy a patriotic pen. So this suddenly felt just right to me, even though the colors are not my typical writing choice. This definitely has a spot in my heart now. So that is all. Next video, I'm going to share with you my Travelers Company purchases, and I have a few miscellaneous items I think you'll enjoy seeing. One is a homemade book that was really quite lovely. So that will be on the next video. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye.